Hi, my name is Bryce Beech, and this is the morality of stem cell research. The first point I'd like to talk about is immortality, or kind of immortality. So, stem cells are undifferentiated cells that can differentiate into their matured forms of blood, bone, tissues, ligaments, muscles, basically your organs and your organ systems. Embryonic stem cells can be found in the embryo, thus embryonic. Duh. Scientists are really creative, huh? And since they make the organs in your body, they could be used to make more of them and replace them. Embryonic stem cells are known to be this kind of totipotent, meaning that they can differentiate into any type of cell. So they could potentially differentiate into a heart that you would need, an extra liver. So, not that you should drink more, but they could differentiate into a liver that had been harmed by alcoholism, and they have great potential for benefits. The shortening of the telomeres sadly prevents this, as it is a predominant factor in aging, and you cannot change it. But we might be able to get around it with telomerase. Now, the history of human embryonic stem cell research actually begins with mice in 1981. Human embryonic stem cells were isolated in 1998 when they punctured the blastocyst. The blastocyst is what is known to become the placenta, and you have to puncture it, and by doing so you sadly do destroy the embryos, and you destroy any possibility that the blastocyst or embryo would have had of becoming a human life. The place where controversy arises is between the moral and immoral sides of the argument on embryonic stem cells. This is the most heated topic regarding stem cells. The moral side makes the argument that stem cell research is moral because it considers the embryos too undeveloped to be considered human lives, as they are just kind of a sack of cells when they are inside the blastocyst. When embryonic stem cells are harvested, they will be used to create stem cell lines, which will be used to create more and more embryonic stem cells and eventually organs and organ systems. They also make the argument that the benefits far outweigh any supposed immorality. The immoral side says that embryonic stem cells are derived from the embryos of humans, and thus harvesting them constitutes destroying a human life, or the possibility of a human life. The religious community especially makes the argument that the soul enters the body at the moment of inception, and thus harvesting a human embryonic stem cell is akin to murder. Many are also worried that abortion could be pressured or promulgated because scientists would want more embryonic stem cells. Now, is embryonic stem cell research truly killing people? Most embryonic stem cells come from a process called in vitro fertilization. In vitro fertilization is where you take the eggs out of a woman and you combine them with sperm in a petri dish outside of the womb. And then only a small portion of the cells from in vitro fertilization are viable for life, and those are put back into the woman for eventual birth and development into a child that the woman will have. The donors must consent. The woman and father who actually had decided to have the process of in vitro fertilization must consent for the embryonic stem cells to be used for embryonic stem cell research. And since the embryonic stem cells were unviable for life and would have been thrown away, would it not make more sense for them to be used for the betterment of others? Overall, the answer is no. You would not have been killing people and are not killing people. Moving on to my next point, we're going to be talking about hematopoietic stem cells. Hematopoietic stem cells can be found in the bone marrow. They create the various cells and structures of the blood, so you would be thinking about red blood cells, white blood cells, T lymphocytes, all of the different structures found inside the blood. Now, controversy about hematopoietic stem cells has been small and arises in the invasive measures that must be taken to get the stem cells and the damage their removal can cause to the blood. Hematopoietic stem cells can undergo a process called stochastic differentiation, in which they create more of themselves by using hematopoietic growth factors. This basically means that any hematopoietic stem cells that you take out of the bone marrow will eventually be replaced, because hematopoietic stem cells around that stem cell that was taken out will feel that there's a need in the environment for more hematopoietic stem cells, and they will make more through stochastic differentiation. In general, there is always the risk of harm to the body of any surgery, but the participants in harvesting hematopoietic stem cells are willing, and they do understand the risk, minimal though it is, because it's just usually a minimally invasive surgery. Moving on to neural stem cells. Neural stem cells can differentiate into the different cells of the brain, so i.e. neurons, axons, oligodendrocytes, all of those different structures. The same arguments and controversy arise for neural stem cells as arise for hematopoietic stem cells. Taking them from the person can cause irreparable harm. However, stochastic differentiation can take care of this as well, because the neural stem cells feel the loss of one of their own, and then they stochastically differentiate into another neural stem cell. Neural stem cell research is in its infancy, because they were not known to exist until a few years ago, but the possibilities for neural stem cell research are almost endless. They can help car accident survivors that are paralyzed from the waist down. They can help Alzheimer's patients recover memories and create new connections in their brains. It's honestly fascinating, and the possibilities are almost endless because of the brain's enormous potential and power. 3 questions that people might have for me are: how do stem cells differentiate? The answer to that is that they differentiate through transcription factors. Transcription factors are factors that can be found in the environment of stem cells, and they cause the stem cell to differentiate into whatever the body will need. Another question would be, why should normal, healthy people care about stem cells? The answer is it can help you if and when you get an illness. So, like, when you're later on in life and you're starting to lose your memory because of Alzheimer's or a degenerative disease like that, neural stem cell research could help you. And where can you go to get this treatment? Sadly, it is not ethical in the United States, and thus it is usually illegal and not offered. But if you go to Europe, it is, and you can get knee osteoarthritis treatment there. These are my works cited. As you can see, there are many, exactly 12 works cited cited materials in this presentation. Thank you.